Hello, I'm back, braving the utter horror that is the front-facing camera to talk to you about where I'm at with the thoracic outlet syndrome stuff, the post-operative 2-level disc replacement stuff, and chronic pain stuff. And I know that this has been a long time between videos, but I'm kind of glad that there was a bit of a delay, because if I had recorded this video a month and a half ago, it would have been totally different. And now I think I have a little bit of a broader look at what's actually going on. So I had radiofrequency ablation because my pain doc seems to think that some of the residual pain after the 2-level disc replacement in my cervical spine was due to either a nerve being irritated or kind of idiopathic nerve pain. And so we went in and I felt immediate relief on the right side, which was the first side I did. Immediate meaning within a week, I was feeling like, you know what, that's different. The left side was much more stubborn, and I don't understand why that is. If they actually went in and like zapped the nerves, maybe that means that those nerves are generating pain signals, but maybe other nerves, up and down the spine are doing, anyway. But in general, it was like, okay. So my pain levels were kind of at a noisy 4, right? Because, like pain for a lot of us chronic pain people, it's like, even, a 3 or a 4, which isn't like, doubled over in pain. The problem is if you're just like that all the time, it's like your sleep is never restful, your energy levels are never quite as high. There's always kind of background din, right? You know what I'm talking about, spoonies. Anyway, but still, what was good about that at least is, well, there's 2 things. Number one, that no matter what I did, nothing would cause those pain levels to spike anymore. So like I was just at a 4. And so even if I worked out or played the cello or any of these other things, like it would either be at a 4 or below. That is an improvement. And then the other thing, I already mentioned it, but playing the cello didn't make it worse, which is hugely important because it's my life, right? Playing and teaching. So there's that. But at the same time, I was like, 4 is not good enough. 4 is not good enough. So I talked to my doctor about going on Cymbalta, and I know there's kind of like a few, different drugs that people can go on, and frequently insurance companies will make you try Lyrica first. I've tried gabapentin, and that did like absolutely nothing. 0. It also, people use it recreationally. It didn't even get me high. It gave me nothing. It was like taking nothing. So luckily, and everybody says like Lyrica, yeah, Cymbalta is the real guy. My doctor just, sure, let's try it, which I just love him. Dr. Thomas Larkin, man, he listens and he cares. Good grief. I just love him, and I'm so lucky to have found him. Anyway, so we went on Cymbalta, which is an SNRI. So it's a serotonin norepinephrine selective reuptake inhibitor. Right, all that means is before those 2 neurotransmitters get kind of sucked back into the system, it says, nope, you're not going to get reuptake into the system again. We're going to just let you groove a little bit. And those are 2 kind of feel-good chemicals and pain-regulating chemicals. And so it's frequently used for depression and anxiety. And I was this is how bad my pain was. I've taken lots of anxiety drugs like SSRIs before, because about 10 years ago, and I had terrible side effects, and also just like such emotion blunting, and I really didn't like it. And I ended up just not ever really sticking with one of them for more than, say, 4 months at a time. And I cycled through almost all of them. So, like Lexapro and Paxil and Zoloft and Prozac. And just none of them were great. So for me to say, I'm willing to try something, that you already know, like that's bad. And I will tell you, my personal onboarding process with the Cymbalta, which I started taking very into February, was not pleasant. And it was actually my partner who was like, I really think you should push through. Like, for instance, I was prescribed some tramadol as well. So that's what was happening. In order for me to get through work, I was actually taking tramadol. And of course, you know, because it's an opioid, I had built up a little bit of a tolerance to it. So I could actually take a tramadol and drive and teach like it was an Advil, which really worries me. I don't ever want to build up a resistance to that stuff in case I actually really need them for like post-operative pain, or if I get in an accident, right? I don't want to have to take these massive levels of these addictive drugs. And also, I really love to drink. I love having wine with dinner, and I like drinking socially. And it's like, that's a real no-go with all of these drugs. Anyway, so I had taken a tramadol the day I picked up my Cymbalta prescription, and I took this Cymbalta, and they give you the regular dose is 60 milligrams. It's two pills at the same time, and they tell you to do a bit of a ramp up, and they say 2 weeks for the ramp up. I actually gave myself almost a month, just because day one I had some tramadol still in my system, and I went into absolute mania. Like clinical mania. I physically felt like my skin was on too tight. I had crazy racing thoughts. I was just like, and it happened in the middle of the night. So my partner's like next to me sleeping, and I'm just like hanging on for dear life. And about 12, 14 hours later, it mellowed out. And then I was like looking online, and they're like, yeah, these guys are contraindicated. There's a profound reaction. And that's another thing with Cymbalta that you'll see. It interacts with like everything, and it's really hard on your liver apparently. So for instance, I'm a cystic acne person, and so I was considering going back on Accutane for another 3 months just to knock out some of this chin, jawline stuff I've got going. Absolutely not. It would just decimate my liver. So hold on. Let's see if I can see this here. Yes? Okay. Bella wanted to come in. I don't know if you could hear her scratching at the door. I couldn't take it. Anyway, so my first 2 weeks on Cymbalta were absolutely dreadful, with the exception of my pain went down to like a 1 or a 0 on like day 3. And now chronic pain relief is an on-label use for it. It was off-label for a long time. So my insurance covered it right out of the bag, $10. And I've got terrible insurance. Actually, it's supposed to be kind of good, but like, you know, it's like $100 for imaging, $200 for an MRI. And people like me have to get lots of MRIs and imaging and things like that. So it ends up being very expensive. Anyway, so, and also I did feel, I felt sick to my stomach. I had sleep disturbance. And I did have some emotion blunting, and that has gone away. And so after about a month, when things kind of settled down, I bumped up to the next dose because I had a little bit of residual pain coming back in. So I was like, let's give it a shot. Bumping up, I had no additional side effects. And the only thing that has stuck with me though is that I am sleepy. Not all the time, but I don't know what determines what it is. Oh, also I have like bonkers banana dreams. Oh my God, my dreams are crazy. Okay, so all of this is to say I'm on Cymbalta, and it seemed to do like a really good job of like pushing the ball over the goal line in terms of like getting down to a real livable pain level. So I was like, I'll deal with being sleepy. I've just built a nap into my day. So sometime between 12 and 3, I will probably lie down and fall deeply asleep for an hour. And it doesn't bother my going to sleep at the end of the day. So whatever. I do sometimes feel a little zippy at the end of the day, like a little burst of extra energy. But I take melatonin, and that's just fine. So, but starting about 3 weeks ago, my pain levels started to go up again. And I was like, what is this? And so then I started thinking about all the things that are no longer available to me, because right now I'm taping this, it's April 27th. So we're right in the middle of this COVID lockdown. Some states are opening up. Stay home. We're not ready. Anyway, so there's no PT available to me. There's no massage available to me, which is something that has always been good for pain relief. And then the gym isn't available to me. And so I feel like my pain relief was like this, I was doing a whole bunch of things, and I think they all contributed to an overall sense of well-being, ability to get good sleep, and just feeling like my body was useful and usable and not this broken thing, right? So all of those things kind of evaporated, and I'm like, well, that's probably true. But then I realized, looking at the calendar, it's been 3.5 months since my RFA appointments, because those were 2 weeks apart. And my right side started hurting first, and then my left side. My left side is actually not as bad right now. Maybe I've got 2 extra weeks on that. Anyway, so I'm thinking maybe the radiofrequency ablation wore off, because the tips of the nerves that get singed during that do at some point regenerate and start sending signals again. So I contacted the doctor and asked if we can do that again. I haven't received an answer back yet. We'll find out. But I am really interested in seeing whether, so RFA kind of covers the symptoms, right? The nerve is being pissed off by something. So I don't think it's a permanent solution. If I actually have something that's like rubbing up against my nerve or constricting it or something. So we might end up doing one of those $200 imaging just to see what's going on. Maybe I have to go in and have something changed, or maybe there's some sort of, Botox, or I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so what I'm saying is the radiofrequency ablation seems to have worked. Its effects were more subtle than I think I expected. The Cymbalta was pretty miraculous, but if your body chemistry is anything like mine, it was a really wild ride, especially the first week. And I'm just very lucky that I have the kind of job that allows me, if I am super sleepy in the middle of the afternoon, to email my student and push that around. People who have to work a 9 to 5, or if you're working from home, but like there's certain hours where you have to be there, that might be hard for you. Also, caffeine increases the concentration of Cymbalta in your bloodstream. So it's funny, there's like a certain tipping point. So if I have 1 cup of tea, I actually find that I'm more tired. And if I have 2 cups of highly caffeinated tea, then I get my caffeine boost. So and again, that's just my experience. Also, last thing in terms of thoracic outlet syndrome, because the gym was really good. I was doing lots of mobility stuff, and I was doing this bike while I was pulling my shoulder blades back, and then I would do lots of stretching. You can see I've been doing cupping. Got marks all over. Cupping is still a great short-term pain relief thing for me, but what I am finding is that my pectoralis muscles are so tight that this is now where I'm really focused in terms of thoracic outlet. So yeah, that is my update for you, and I'll update you again once I hear back from my doctor.